Dear Diary, this is diary entry number 6. It is, well, it just, it's past midnight, so it's now, June 8th, uh, 2025, and my name is Nam Singh Mago. I would like for you to go ahead before we begin to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Uh, and I don't know what I want to do with this page, to be honest. But what I do know is that I think that I can potentially say something that maybe might help somebody in this shared struggle of solidarity. Um, so, man, it's been a while, and I've done a few things, and I may post some videos on my YouTube page as well. One of the things that I've done since I've last spoken with you all is this week with the USPCN. That's a U.S. Palestinian Coalition Network, I believe it stands for. But they've got an Instagram page, and you can check it out. We disrupted Congressman Sean Casten, who's a huge prick. Let me reiterate that this guy's a piece of shit, and if I post my video and it's in the flesh, you'll be able to see the live unedited video where I tell him to his face, and you know, I accidentally self-doxed in that video. Not my finest moment, but on my YouTube page, I'm not afraid to say who I am. The only thing that does scare me sometimes is Zios be crazy, and they might want to make your life a living hell. But you know what? I've chosen this life. I've chosen the life of standing up for Palestine, and I've chosen the life of standing up for human rights. And the reality is that human rights is interconnected, regardless of right now, we're talking about the genocide of Palestine. We're talking about the genocide of Palestinian children being starved, and not just children, adults too. And we always talk about the 70% of the people that are being killed in this genocide are women and children. But we have to also recognize that there are men that are non combatant men that are being killed. And to be fair, you know, the resistance exists because of the terms of engagement that the oppressor has set for them. So, what are people going to say about that? And I don't I don't know why people feel that the right to resist, or the right to defend, or the right to actually like not be kicked out of your home extends to people based on who they are, based on their skin color, based on their religion. It's ridiculous. And when I'm talked down to on this specific notion, it's like, no, if you in this moment are talking about Israel as if you are sympathetic to them, that's like spitting in the face of Holocaust victims. Would you during the Holocaust, like, think about like people who are Germans or Nazis or whatever, Germans that are just in America that are marching in the street for, you know, against the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Yeah, I went there because that's what this is. So, would there be pushback? And I really want people to understand this. We're in a culture where it's okay to punch a Nazi in the face. We've come around to this conclusion. And the reality is that nobody likes any violence. But a lot of people, they look at what happened in Boulder. They look at what happened at the Israeli embassy. And I notice how different it is when they talk about that versus when they talk about Wadia from Plainfield, the 6-year-old boy that was killed by his landlord, a man who he thought of like a grandfather figure. It's 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 absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It gets my blood boiling. Or the 3 Palestinian kids that were college students that were shot at in Vermont, one of which is now currently disabled. You know, and what were they doing? They were walking around during Thanksgiving wearing keffiyehs. Like, are we ridiculous? And like, I have my hair down because it's drying right now. I washed my hair tonight, and and it's like, you know, should I be allowed as a turban wearing Sikh? Should I be allowed to walk around proudly with my turban? That's how I view a Palestinian walking around with their kafaya. Like, are you serious? And so when we look at these pro genocide marches, we look at what they're talking about. They're talking about return the hostages as if this is like the onus is on the Palestinians when there's a deal on the table and Israel has broken every attempt at peace and negotiations. Because guess what? Netanyahu doesn't want peace. Israel doesn't want peace. And Netanyahu, he wants to remain in that position. He wants to be king because as soon as they have an election, he loses the election, he goes to jail. That's the reality. And if it's not for war crimes, he goes to jail in Israel based on the fact that he's done internal corruption in Israel. That's the whole ball game here. And we're going to placate this idea, this notion that anti-Semitism and Jewish lives are at risk right now because of the pro-Palestine liberation movement. It's so absolutely gaslightingly ridiculous. And I'm just sick and tired of it. And the reality is that no, that's bullshit. That's complete, utter bullshit. And, obviously, I don't care about being monetized. I don't care about the algorithms. This is the truth. The reality is that, like, it's just so fucking aggravating. And I don't know what else to say about this situation. I'm at the point where every politician that votes in favor of sending weapons to Israel needs to be disrupted because the conversation is over at this point. What are we going to say? What are we going to do? We're also at the point where we've got National Guard against protesters that are trying to resist ICE deportations, and we already know that they're deporting green card holders, or attempting to, I should say. They're deporting people who had legal asylum claims that were in our legal system that were known. And then they're saying administrative error. Gilmar Abrego Garcia, he's back in the U.S. to face charges. To face charges for what? He was sent to CICA in El Salvador over administrative error. And, like, has nobody put two and two together that the more that we allow the fascism to exist for Palestine, the more that we allow for the framing to exist that all of these blowback boomerang attacks that have happened, because the reality is that when somebody commits genocide, militaries and militias around the world, they stop that genocide. It happened during World War II when the US and the Allies and Russia and UK, they decided to get involved in stopping the Nazi Germany. Of course, a lot of Jews were already exterminated because the actual offense was Germany deciding to invade Poland, and it messed up the geopolitics of Europe, and that was the real reason. And then America got involved because Japan attacked us, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, when we actually look at what we're taught as kids, not necessarily rooted in complete reality, but what we actually are taught, we're taught that it is justified to do military intervention to stop a genocidal state. And now we're betraying our own values because we never had these values. The reality is that whatever fits in our economic geopolitics model and whatever makes sense for our caste hierarchy is what matters. So America has the power, the West has the power, so international law is not for us. International law is for the global south to observe so that we can be hypocritical. We play by the rules of the jungle. The West, we play by the rules of the jungle. And it's so fucking aggravating that I want to rip my hair out. And I've got a lot of hair, as you can see. So I'm sorry that this is not a more, I don't know, gentle diary entry, but I don't know how to be gentle. But I will say that I'm proud of my brothers and sisters in LA. I hope that they stay safe because Trump has enacted 2,000 National Guard, you know, and hopefully we say Wagru da Hukum, which basically that's for Sikh for Inshallah or God willing. So Wagru da Hukum that they are safe because it's very brave what they did to stand up to ICE agents to prevent deportations. So this was a little a bit more angry than I wanted it to be, but I don't know how else it was going to be. This is what it is. And I'll just end it real quick with I said recently on Facebook, I said that right now it's a little uncomfortable that we're living the onion. And the reality is that we are living the onion. I really hope that onion writers are not going to be put out of business because it's like our real life is an onion article. It's satire. It's a joke. So thank you for sticking around this long. And as always, Wagruji ka Khalsa, Wagruji ki Fateh. God bless.